Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you're listening from. It's me, Lisa, and this is Untitled, the podcast without a name. Before I get into it, I want to say this. If consistency has ever felt heavy or not realistic for you, maybe I'm able to show you that it doesn't have to be as hard or heavy as it often sounds. And structure or consistency doesn't have to be overwhelming or stressful. It's 6:30 in the morning and I just came back from the gym. I'm sitting here with my coffee and my protein shake next to me, recording the second episode before I sit down and start work. In the first episode, I talked a lot about myself, my intentions, and my why for starting this podcast. I spoke about discipline, routines, the things I do every day, and also consistency. And today, I want to make this a little bit more practical, a little bit more real, to help you understand. Not really something you copy. It's not my way is not the only way to do it, but I want to try to make it as something you can translate or um, you can take something out of it into your own life, into your own routines. I'm going to use my own weekdays as an example, how I organize my mornings and evenings. Some routines I keep very, very simple. And one very boring habit that ended up changing a lot for me. Not because my routine is special, like I said, um, but because I think when you give people an example, it often makes patterns easier to see. When people talk about consistency, it often sounds very strict or extreme, right? And I totally get it. People call me extreme sometimes. And that kind of framing can make consistency feel hard to relate to. I get it. I really understand. I think it's really hard for people to imagine doing stuff long term. For a lot of people, consistency feels like, let's say, loss of freedom, a lot of pressure, overwhelming. And without understanding the purpose of consistency can start to feel like there's no point, nonsense. If you don't understand the concept of it, it doesn't make sense to you. So for me personally, I can force myself to do things all the time. I'm actually very good at pushing myself for a long period of time and but is that really fun? No, not really. And I know I'm not the only one. A lot of people can relate to doing things out of pressure because there is no room to, like be more flexible, right? So at some point, I had to build things in a way I could actually live with it. Something what makes it more doable and realistic, more sustainable for me, and honestly, a bit easier. So it takes a lot of stress, you know? And that's why I want to walk you through what I do and what a normal weekday looks like for me. Like I said earlier, it's not the only way to do it. It's really not a blueprint, but as a way to show you how structure can actually support real life instead of making it hard or feel overwhelmed or stressed all the time. And this is really not science. It's not anything crazy. Um, that's how I live, and that what works for me. And maybe as you listen, you can take something out of it, you know, and maybe something works for you too. So my weekdays start early, very, very early. Like I mentioned in the first episode, I get up at 3 a.m., 5 days out of 7. Friday is my rest day. I don't set an alarm. I wake up naturally. I get ready and I go to work. And Sundays are my long run days. I sleep in, wake up naturally, I get ready, I take my time, you know. I want to feel rested and ready before I go out and run. And on the other weekdays, to be honest, there is not so much room for flexibility in the morning, but that's intentional too. And it might look a little bit stiff from the outside, but that's just why it's the same structure every day, because you do things over and over and over again. Um, so everything I need in the morning is already prepared at night or the night before. That's better. The night before. So when I wake up, there is nothing to figure out. I wake up, I drink my water and my electrolytes, take my supplements, and it's all set up. Then I get dressed, I get ready, grab my bag, my protein shake, and I leave the house. Means at 3 a.m., I don't make any decisions. I don't ask myself questions, and I don't check in with my motivation or how I feel. You better don't ask yourself at 3 a.m. how you feel. And the reason I'm sharing that is because removing decisions early in the day can make things feel much lighter, especially if you're not a morning person, right? Everything is prepared, so I just have to follow the routine without thinking about anything. I usually leave the house around 3:20 to go running or get my workout in at the gym, and I'm back at 6:30 so I can wake up my daughter and help her get ready for school. And that's not really about being strict. It's more about having a structure that fits my actual life and my responsibilities. Not just as a human being, as a mom, right? So during the day there is more flexible. It's more flex. Things are more flexible. Um, I work full time. There's nothing unusual there. I eat. I go with the flow. I don't meal prep. Uh, I did that in the past a few times, but I mean, it's fine. I like it, but I just like to go with the flow. And the main focus with food is simply, for me, eating enough and eating right and intentionally. Um, means making sure there is protein and carbs, fats, all the basics your body needs. So it's just about support. It's not perfection, you know. Afternoons and early evenings are more about the real life stuff: appointments, food shopping, cooking, cleaning, laundry, helping my daughter with homework, or helping her studying. And at the end of the day, I prepare everything for the next day. 2 evenings a week, Tuesday and Wednesday, I teach yoga after work. So, especially on those days, I make sure everything for the next morning is ready before I leave the house. When I come home, I just have to get ready for bed and go to bed and sleep. Supplements prepared, protein shake prepared, my electrolytes are prepared, bag is packed, clothes are ready, and I just have to go to bed. I usually go to bed at 8:30, 6 days a week. And there is just one exception, and it's Yoga Wednesday when I go to bed closer to 9:45, 10ish. And that's really the key for me. And maybe this is something you can notice in your own life too. My mornings work because my evenings support them. So from the outside, my mornings might look very strict, but they are just simple. It's simple stuff. At 3 a.m., feelings don't matter. Not because they're not important, but because there is nothing to decide. Same structure, same order, no decisions. And that's what makes it actually sustainable and doable long term. My evenings, they just have one job: to make tomorrow easier. Prepare supplements, prepare the shake, prepare the bag and everything you need, and that's it. And this is not, oh, I live in the moment. I know that. But it removes distraction and friction. And there is a time when it's important to live in the moment. It's about existing, but to make it easier for you, or to make it easier for me, I follow my routine. I follow my structures. And removing friction, removing distraction is often what makes consistency really possible. So, when evenings are used intentionally, your mornings feel easier. And the same thing applies to rest days, actually, for me. So, Friday is my rest day. I sleep in, I wake up naturally. That means usually between 5 and 6. I get ready and go to work once my daughter leaves. I don't turn rest days into a big recovery project. I keep them simple too. So sometimes I don't even hit 5,000 steps on a Friday, and I'm totally okay with that. I work, I eat, I eat my favorite food, and I rest. For me, rest days only work if I actually rest. And I think a lot of people feel that tension too. Um, I totally get it. It's on a rest day you feel maybe inactive or lazy, but rest is actually a part of everything, a part of your structure, of your training plan, of your routine. It's a part of it. It's not being lazy. So, mornings, evenings, and rest days all work for the same reason: because you keep them simple. Which brings me back to consistency. Consistency doesn't need complicated rules, it just needs clear ones. And I mentioned one boring habit earlier. And that's exactly this: I prepare my mornings in the evenings. I say it again. It's just simple as that. Everything I need for the next day is ready before I go to bed. no decisions, no rushing, and it's just all set. And this habit doesn't just save time, it saves energy and it removes resistance or excuses and questions. So when something is already prepared, it's really much harder to skip. And that's something most people can use in all areas of life. If something is already prepared and set up, you don't want to skip it, right? And that's what discipline looks like for me. It's not forcing myself, but taking care of future me the night before. And it's not about being perfect. And some days are messy, sometimes things get prepared late, or sometimes they don't need to be prepared at all. Like I handle it on a Friday or a Sunday as well. And on Thursdays, for example, I don't prepare for Friday because I have more time in the morning. I take it easy. Same with Sundays. I sleep in, take it easy, and I give myself more flexibility. That flexibility is part of what makes everything else work. So when people ask me how I stay consistent, this is usually my answer. It's not motivation, it's not willpower, and I'm not a superhero. I think that's clear. I'm not a superhero. I don't have a team around me, I don't have anyone around me doing things for me. It's just preparation. Preparing the morning and the evening changed everything because it made consistency really possible and not overwhelming and not stressful. And when I look at my days, there is nothing extreme about them. It's not complicated. And that's exactly why it works. Consistency doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from keeping things simple enough that you can keep going, even on days when you don't feel great. And that's really what this episode is about. It's not about doing more or forcing effort. Um, it's about setting things up so showing up feels possible for you, even easy. And if you out there quietly doing your own work in your own way and trying to build something that fits your life, that matters. So I want to say, keep going and keep working. I talk to you soon.